It's the final phase of America's so-called forever war in Afghanistan. After 20 years, the U.S. has begun formally withdrawing its troops from the country. The move heralds an uncertain future for Afghanistan, which continues to be gripped by violence. Just Friday night, a suicide bombing in the eastern Logar province killed at least 21 people and injured dozens more, according to officials. Our correspondent in Kabul, Nanna Muus Steffensen, joins us now for more. Now, technically, the withdrawal of U.S. troops has already begun. So why is this May 1st deadline so significant?
Yes, indeed, the U.S. withdrawal is already underway. So this day, first, it has much more significance to the Taliban than to the U.S. And that is because, according to the deal which was signed between the Taliban and the U.S. last year, today, May 1st, is the deadline by which all foreign forces were supposed to, according to this deal, were supposed to have left the country already. As we know, that didn't happen, although they are on their way out. The Taliban has said many times, and again today, that it considers this delayed withdrawal as a breach of the deal and therefore threatens to increase violence. And that is why there has been a lot of anxiety in Afghanistan leading up to today.
Yes, the U.S. withdrawal comes amid a deadly surge of violence, as you just mentioned. And despite that deal that was agreed upon between the Taliban and the U.S., is there a fear that violence will only increase after foreign forces leave?
There's no doubt, I think, that the beginning of the end of the war for U.S. and for NATO will be the beginning of a new and very, very insecure chapter for Afghans. Despite having signed this deal with the U.S. last year, the Taliban has recently only increased violence, but in particular against Afghan forces, but also it has hit civilians hard who have been victims of this violence. So now that the U.S. is for sure on the way out, many people fear that we will only see more of this violence here in Afghanistan.
Yes, and most recently, Friday night, there was a suicide bombing in eastern Logar province. Tell us what we know about that attack so far.
Yes, we know that the attack took place around 7 p.m. last night, local time. And that's the time when people were just sitting down to break the fast, to have the first meal of the evening last night. And we know that the bomb was so big that it damaged several buildings around there. And people have been looking for their family and friends in the rubble during the night. The official number is still that 21 people have been killed. But I can say that sources on the ground there say that it could be even higher, maybe more than 30 people. And what we do know is that many of the killed were actually young people who had come to town to be able to take the entry exam to try to get into university. So I will say that still there's no group has come out and taken responsibility for this attack so far. But the government will most likely consider the Taliban to be responsible. And therefore, this attack will definitely only add to the huge lack of mistrust between the Afghan government and the Taliban.
Thanks for that update, Nanna Muus Steffensen, reporting live from Kabul.